Hey y'all, back again to do another astrology reading for this upcoming new moon total solar eclipse. Is it total solar or just, I don't know. But anyway, so we got the first house in Aquarius. Um we also have Mercury and Venus in the first house, Saturn in the first house, and Neptune and the North Node. So there's a lot going on in the first house. And all in Aquarius. This is basically about the collective humanitarian efforts, that kind of thing. The energies are really supporting this. And this is going to be the snapshot for the upcoming year. Okay. What else? Part of Fortune is in the first house. Persephone's in the first house. The Ascendant. Well, I already said that. Alright, and then we got the Sun, the Moon, Mars, and Pluto all in the 12th house. Sun and the Moon in Aquarius in the 12th house. And then Mars and Pluto are in Capricorn. So, a lot of stuff having to do with like hidden enemies, the subconscious, self-undoing, things like that. And the focus is going to be primarily on working towards like goals for the collective humanity. Okay. All right. So let's see what the Sabian symbols are. So we got Sun and Aquarius in the first house. An old Adobe mission in California. This symbol shows the ability or the need to have a place that's safe and comfortable to live, work, pray, and practice our spiritual lives. The old Adobe missions in California were built with a great deal of effort, sacrifice, commitment, and a sense of community, with one eye on the path and the other on the very real, everyday needs of the people it serves. Sometimes we assume our beliefs are right and that others need to be shown the truth. Efforts, I can't speak today. Oh my God. Efforts should be turned to creating infrastructures to pursue these beliefs. So yes, establishing infrastructures to help build up humanity, to help support humanity, to stop letting all these goons and goblins destroy us and use us. We need to become self-sustainable. We need to come together and help each other rise up, okay? Efforts should be turned to creating infrastructures to pursue these beliefs. Relating is not about control, but acceptance and reverence of each person's divinity. There should be no pretensions, but a forging of links to new worlds. Withdrawing, spiritual retreat, natural surroundings, creating civilizations out of natural elements, finding places to work with spirit, sanctuaries and learning houses, centers. The caution, dogmatism, pushing one's beliefs and ideas, having all the answers, moving in, taking over monuments to the past, cults, indoctrination, chiefs and Indians. I don't know what that means, chiefs and Indians. That's kind of silly. And then the moon is the same thing, okay? Alright, and then we got a forest fire finally quenched. I'm not going to read, like, all of these. You guys can just pause if you want to read through the whole thing, but we're going to just, like, go over them very briefly. I'm not trying to be here for another, like, 2 hours, or for 2 hours like last time. Okay, so any efforts will be at last successful. Alright, first of all, this symbol shows the ability or the need to be able to rise to the, so I said rise up, rise to the occasion and quench the flames of fires that can leap out of their boundaries and take control of your life. Uncontrollable and destructive chain of events. You may find that you sometimes get caught up in such situations, emotional or physical. There's likely to be no choice but to fight for control, and minimize the destruction. Any efforts will be at last successful. You are likely to come out of some life-threatening experiences with a new sense of commitment. Said I was going to read the whole thing, but apparently I am. Or a better understanding of the consequences of your action. Exuberant feelings after struggles, running out of fuel, calming down. I don't like these little, like, excerpts at the bottom. Like, I don't... Some of them, I'm just like, I don't even understand how that relates, but... Okay, so the drive for control, situations that produce rubble, destruction, passions, or emotions, smoke, one-eyed focus. What, that one-eyed focus, what? Yeah, it just said that up here. Why does it keep saying that? Alright. During a silent hour, a person receives a new inspiration which may change their life. Sorry guys, I keep like scratching myself. I'm like breaking out in like a rash or something. Y'all needed to know that. Okay. All right, Venus and Aquarius in the 11th degree. During a silent hour, a person receives a new inspiration which may change their life. So, welling creative power, inspiration, breathing in the spirit, coming to terms with reality, spiritual awakenings, quiet moments. You're going to be inspired. There's going to be a lot of inspiration. Having silent time to receive the messages. This was like in the last one we did. It was talking about that too. Alright, a general accepting defeat gracefully. Something about things are not working out. Letting go of events or people or thoughts that no longer work for you. Yeah, the way society and the structure is, we need to let it go. Big time. Nobility of character, letting go of the charge around anger. The caution, being a bad loser, feeling everything is going to come out badly. Reliance on self-limitation, seeing the negative, betrayal and loss. So, loss of support and surrendering. But then that's saying the caution is surrendering. But then this is accepting defeat gracefully. You don't always have to accept defeat. Sometimes you have to accept your own successes. Oh, okay. Yeah, some people, like, that's that whole self-undoing thing. Yeah. So, like, some people, like, have a really hard time with receiving blessings. So, that idea of duality has come up a lot lately. That's something a lot of people struggle with due to conditioning of poverty consciousness and feeling shame and guilt for literally everything, because that's how we were all programmed, right? And it's bullshit. Okay, two Chinese men talking Chinese in a Western crowd. Some of the things on these Sabian symbols is just wild. All right, this symbol implies being able to find someone to communicate with, even when you're in what might feel like an alien territory. Don't mind me, guys. I can't stay still because I'm like super itchy. My skin is like so dried out from the heaters because it's been freezing over here on the East Coast. And I also just went swimming inside. I went swimming inside. So my skin is like fried right now. Like castor oil ain't even doing the trick. And if you know, you know. So that's pretty bad, right? I think I need to drink more water, probably. Maybe that's a message for somebody out there. Drink your water, guys. Do I have any handy? No, but that's fine. All right. Finding someone of like mind or feeling will help you feel more comfortable and secure. Thinking and speaking in your native tongue or a language that reflects your thoughts and beliefs will bring greater ease and comfort. Sharing mutual thoughts can help transcend feelings of alienation and can lead to new understanding. More people need to speak out and share their truths and come out of hibernation and loneliness and all of that stuff. Even if it's scary, which it is for most people, just do it. Like, everyone gets bullied. It's probably gonna happen no matter what. But bullies is just a projection of their insecurities. They're just projecting their insecurities on you. So, and then there could be even more serious consequences, like, retaliation from people that don't agree with you. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that if you speak truth that is aligned with integrity and a heart-centered focus that tippereth on the tree of life, you will be protected no matter what. Because if they take you out, it's like really bad karma on them. That's like my understanding, or something. This is like one way that it's been explained to me recently, is like they try to avoid, like the enemy tries to avoid getting karma dealt to them as much as possible. Like, for example, by like telling us their plans beforehand, and then that gives them like the because nobody did anything about it, so now we don't have karmic debt. Honestly, that's not how it works. They're pretty stupid for that. Like, there's always going to be consequences, okay? All right, anyway, not adapting to the world around you, being with people who don't share philosophies or understanding, not communicating on your own level, judging others as different. Oh, and then the thought just came into my mind, like, there's this whole theory or, like, belief that we all, like, before we came here, decided on roles to play. So, like, some people chose, like, the villain role, some people chose the hero, some people chose, like, the watcher or the bystander or whatever, like the audience kind of. And I guess, like, to expand your consciousness awareness, but at the same time, I've always been told, like, learn from the lives of others. Like, you can learn from the lives of others, like their mistakes and stuff like that. Like, you don't have to necessarily go through all of that yourself. But it's more of, like, I guess, an experience or whatever. But you can just play a video game and be a villain in the video game if you want, right? Why do you gotta do it in real life? Like, I don't know. I just don't like that. I think it's stupid. And I don't think it's okay to justify it by saying that that's what it is. So, anyway, like, there should be some things that are definitely off limits, like what they're doing to children and all that stuff. Like, that's a big no-go. Big no-go. Like, you think of the Sims game, like, you can't do stuff like that to children. Like, leave the children alone. And then there's this whole theory, like, oh, like, there would be, like, nobody with, like, powers, like, psychic powers or anything like that if there wasn't, like, childhood trauma, because they try to say, like, that's how it can be brought out. But if you think of, like, Monsters, Inc., like, how it showed that they could get power from laughter as well as screams, there's something to that. And it's just bullshit when they tell you, like, they try to give excuses for their behavior. It's just disgusting. Like, no, it's really not okay. Like, stop. All right, this symbol, a petrified forest, Saturn and Pisces in the third, a petrified forest, an eternal record of a life lived long ago. A lot of people try to use Saturn to cast spells and do wicked crap. Actually, let me see something. Does anyone have anything planned for Saturn? Let's see. We're going to pull from a Arcane Forensics Oracle real quick. control, influence, domination spell. Domination candle, coercive sweetening. Response, cord cut and autonomy affirmation. So guys, try to do that, okay, for this upcoming. If we all stand together and go against these mother effers, Google it, how to do that, and do it. I'll be doing it with you. They can't keep doing this to us. Gatekeepers, cyclical working. Meaning recast on a schedule. Example, full moon repeats. Response, ward on the same cycle, long-term protection. So create some wards on the same cycle of this new moon. You could start, what's the date of the, it's February 11th right now. So 3 days before, and then during, and 3 days after, okay? And do the candle thing too, if you want to stop these BSers. All it takes is at least like 3 people. Alright. And I say that from based on the teachings of Doctrine and Ritual of High Magic by Eliphas Levi. For a magician to... Now, I don't know if I necessarily believe in this 100%, but it is like an old teaching, and I feel like there is something to it. So, like, you either have to have, like, when you're doing ritual, you have to have, like, a dog, or, like, I think any kind of animal, like you're familiar or whatever. Or you have to have 3 acolytes. And then everybody has to be dressed for alchemy. Everybody has to be purified. All of that stuff. So, and by purification, essentially just living in your authentic truth, living in integrity. What that means for you could vary. I mean, if you're doing something that's harming your vessel, that's not living in integrity. If you're doing something to harm anybody else, that's not living in integrity. And harm would be forceful action, control, stuff like that, right? Okay. Do you... Oh, and I want to say one more thing. So, recently I went vegetarian. For health reasons, but also for spiritual reasons, to try to negate the suffering and stuff, like the suffering energy that's put into people through the factory farming. The way they slaughter the animals is disgusting. It's absolutely horrible. Okay? It's different if you're a hunter in the woods. Okay, and you're doing stuff like humanely, and then also you're not glorifying it. Like, I can't stand people that like take pictures with dead animals and they're like trophies. Like, that's just, I'm sorry, but that's disgusting. Like, how would you like if an alien came by and just like put your head on a pike, like was like selfie, put you on their dating profile like that? Like think about it. Like, what? This is disgusting. So, you know, being reverent about what you're partaking in is important if you're trying to help the collective humanity, okay? So, alright, anyway, what else? Do you look... Okay, petrified forest. Let's see. This symbol shows the ability of the need to be respectful of the gifts that come out of the past. The petrified forest shows remnants of past civilizations, of what went before. History always has something amazing to teach us. That's like what I was just talking about. Like, the doctrine of and ritual of high magic. It's, you know, it's an old mythology but I do believe it holds weight. But anyway, so do you look to things such as records, memories, art, literature, photographs, crystals, etc.? At times you could be like a petrified forest, somewhat frozen in time and not knowing how to proceed. It may help if you get the dead wood out of your life. It can clog up your cupboards, relationships, emotional life, etc. Letting go of things clears the way for new growth on many levels. Be wary of throwing out things that are important. Remnants and stillness, agelessness, being able to withstand life storms, resilience, coal, oil, petrochemicals. I don't know, guys. Keeping records, ancient remnants, stones, family history. Okay, the caution: rigidity, immobility, inflexibility. Having a flexible mind is super important. That's the key to a lot of stuff. Healing, mainly. Manifestation, though. All of that. So, all right. Feeling stuck or frozen, not going into that fawn state, where you just let the powers that be do whatever the hell they want because we're afraid. Like, let's not do that. Okay? All right, next, Uranus in Aries in the 30th. This is going to be a really important one here because there's so much Aquarius going on and stuff. And guys, I follow Deluxe astrology in case like you're new here or whatever. So it's like Vedic, but slightly more accurate as far as astronomically the positions, because tropical is based off of like, what is it, 10,000 years ago? Before the planetary precession, like where the stuff, the luminaries, the constellations, all that stuff actually are in the sky, it's not through tropical. That's like, that would be more of like your past life placements, in my opinion. Something like that. Okay, this symbol speaks of families being with and caring for youngsters and for each other. Sometimes there can be a feeling of being restricted and bound in by reality, but then there's often a feeling of being safe. Sometimes we need to remind ourselves of the comforting things around us. Finding friends or family that enrich one's life can lead to a sense of community, belonging, and love. Although one may sometimes wish for more exciting adventures, it feels good to have a place to hang one's hat. Nurture family and contentment. Realize limitations, reliability, the problems and joys, and the responsibility of having a brood to look out after. Psychoanalysis of family issues. The caution: denying your own needs for those of your brood. Narrow-minded attitudes, feeling stuck, not wanting to grow up and take risks in life. So, not becoming too comfortable in your little nest, but appreciating it at the same time and being able to have joy. Yes, this world is absolute shit. What's going on? It's disgusting. But at the same time, if we're just to focus on that all like constantly, like we'd all be absolutely batshit crazy. Like there's no way. So we have to have like a little give and take, a little balance with the, focusing on the problems, but also being able to appreciate our loved ones. And also, I feel like this is really talking about taking care of the children and looking after them. And, the children are the future, okay? And the reason why this planet's so fucked is because back in the day, the children were not taken care of properly and they grew up to be a bunch of monsters, right? So we need to not let that happen. All right? We need to really, really work on the infrastructure. I can't words. Infrastructure and developing a self-sustainable infrastructure, and really trying to get children out of poverty. If you watch my last long reading I just did, the idea of child poverty and women's rights came up, because there's a lot of single mothers out there, and also there's some single fathers as well. It's extremely difficult to have a way to support your child or children when you're completely by yourself, you know. And a lot of people, they're single parents, the other parent passed away or is just not in the picture, nowhere to be found or whatever. And they also don't have any family, and they don't have any friends either. And like, imagine that. Imagine dealing with all of that, and like, how do you raise up that child properly? It's going to be very, almost damn near impossible. And you know, we all need to really stand together and become a community again. Because this is not how life is supposed to be lived. This is miserable, the way things are in this country. It's absolutely miserable. Okay. What else? Neptune in Pisces in the third, a petrified forest, an eternal record of a life lived long ago. So that's the same thing. A veiled prophet speaks, seized by the power of God. Pluto, Capricorn in the seventh. This degree implies the ability or the need to disseminate information or knowledge. It is coming through the veiled prophet. There are messages, and it seems they're coming from a deep source or from a place of authority. Still, it can be difficult to know whether it's always the truth that is being spoken or that's coming through you. Look carefully for the signs. Is it truth that you're being fed? With such power in one's words, we have to be careful about what we say as well as what we hear. Discernment. This energy can be used to be for the good of all involved, or it can just lead people astray. Sometimes to watch out, or something to watch out for, is blind acceptance of things you see or hear. This is a very powerful degree. So channeling and mediumship, having insights. So this is talking about, you know, being mindful about what you're digesting, what you're absorbing from your media that you're watching, from the news sources, all of that. And just like, if something doesn't feel good, just keep scrolling. A lot of times, like, I find myself, like, because I like a creator or something, but I don't like the video, but I like it anyway because I want to support them, but the video really doesn't please me and make me happy, but I find myself liking it anyway and continuing to watch it, even though it's like sucking the soul out of me. So that's something, you know, I've been working on a lot, is like, if I don't like something, if it's just not my vibe, it doesn't mean I'm like, oh, fuck that person, I hate them now, unless it's something disgusting that they're saying, like for example, somebody that was a friend of mine told me they're into genocide, and that everyone in Gaza is a bunch of animals, and they're disgusting, that person. Like, so yeah, there's lines that are to be drawn in the sand. But hold on. Okay. So yeah, just like living in integrity, okay? Like, even if it's just something small, like when you're scrolling on social media, you know, not feeling obligated for anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, or in a way where it's like something that really doesn't matter. Like, someone's like cooking video, they're making something nasty, I'm not gonna freaking sit there and watch the whole thing just because I want to help them out. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just not doing it. Like, I'm talking about stuff like that. All right, if someone's speaking their truth and they're giving you like a real, like, from their heart, you know, it'd be a kindness to hear them out and at least give them a chance to hear what they have to say, that kind of thing, you know. That doesn't mean you have to like what they have to say, but at least give them a chance. If it's something stupid, like, you don't have to waste your time, all right? Anyway, so barging into other people. So cautious is conscious manipulation. So that's what I'm saying. propaganda, propaganda, mind control, not owning up to all the elements of one's personality. So yeah, so being true to yourself, um, sticking to your boundaries, okay, sticking true to yourself and what you find valuable, okay? All right, and then we got North Node and Aquarius in the 11th. During a silent hour, a person receives a new inspiration which may change their life. Yeah, we already did that, right? That was up here. Which one was that? Oh, maybe not. No, yeah. Venus? Yeah. I'm really tired, guys. My brain's like, what? Had a long day. Okay. So we got a duck pond and its young brood. That's the same thing. Petrified forest, Pluto. Where were we? North Node. Alright, South Node. Children on a swing in the safety of a huge oak tree. Again, like child protection. Being able to stay in one place. Taking time off. Child protection. Expecting others to take responsibilities, the caution, while one just plays. Feeling disadvantaged, lack of protection. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of this, was like, you know, having a balance between going into your cave, into your nest, whatever, your comfort zone, and then being able to come back out. And then it's also kind of like, if you look at it like with a metaphor for war, like, you know, a good strategist knows when to retreat, and but they don't stay in retreat. They gather up their supplies and their whatever reserves and all of that, and then they go back out. Okay. What else? A dentist. Hard at work. I've been seeing this dentist thing a lot, which is weird. I have an appointment with the dentist this week. Find out what's wrong in situations to perform a diagnosis in order to restore their function so they work smoothly and efficiently. We must nourish our bodies, minds, and spirits on all levels, but even with healthy habits and healthy minds, regular maintenance and repairs are still in order. The dentist needs, the quote-unquote dentist needs to, because they're not talking about an actual dentist, it's a metaphor, right? Needs to repair this sometimes unnecessary damage, e.g., for example, finance, health, stress, etc. Drilling into things, plugging up situations, being the responsible one who always has to fix things, therapists, treatments, pain relief, improving one's by medical equipment. The caution is getting further into a hole by using more and more social solutions, causing pollution and damage, severe pain, always alert to problems, not resting. It's that hypervigilance that came up in the last night's read. And I was feeling that energy because I was kind of like, I guess I would explain it as spiritual attack, but it didn't last very long, thankfully. Whereas in the past, it was lasting for a very long time, for even like a whole week straight, to where it was like possession type of stuff going on in my household, and then like getting basically like tortured. Okay. So, let's see. So yeah, my point with that was like, that was causing me, because it was like, it's like a PTSD thing. It was causing me to be like hyper vigilant, and like, I hate that feeling. It's such a bad feeling to have to be like on edge, like having to be a guard, like being like the sentinel at the crossroads or whatever. That one card I have, the character archetype card. If you've watched my readings, you've seen it. Whatever, I'm not gonna find it. But yeah, like, I've had to take on that role, and it's taxing. It's very hard to do, but it's like the metaphor or the idea of like Michael with his head on the devil. I mean, his foot on the devil's head, holding the line. It's not going to last forever. Holding the line, standing firm, and repairing the infrastructure that's damaged from the ground up. Think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all need to stand together and do this. And we need to be firm and strong and steadfast and not give up. No matter how hard it may seem, the pushback that we get, eventually the enemy is going to lay down and stop. They're going to accept defeat gracefully, right? That's what that, the one, I don't know what position it was, but... Alright, and then we got a Greek muse weighing newborn twins and golden scales. I've been seeing this one a lot as well lately. This symbol shows the ability or the necessity of being able to weigh up seemingly similar things and being able to make distinctions between them. In a creative or intuitive way, you may be pressed into making judgments and decisions, but the elements of your judgment are in many ways exactly the same. The choices can be confusing because they essentially lead to the same result. This situation is brand new. Maybe the answer lies in taking an intuitive punt or waiting for the solutions to become more clear-cut. Comparisons and similarities, weighing things up, the law and lawyers. Lawyers came out last night too, and it's been coming out a lot. Like, cosmic justice, kind of like mediators and like in the form of like lawyers and stuff, like standing up against justice, finally stepping in and speaking up. I heard somebody there, I was watching this tarot reading this morning. It's this guy was like reading the cards, and he's like, oh wow, like they're finally putting their sub sandwiches down and looking at what's going on. Like the people in charge or whatever. And I was like, that'd be great. Measured response, using intuition, inspiration, fairness, equality, judgmental opinions about things that are essentially equal. I mean, I could see constantly weighing things up instead of just accepting them is the caution. Yeah, no, I don't know. Tipping the scales. Yeah, so like in the grand scheme of things of all time and space, you know, I could see where it's saying, leading to the same result, because it's all gonna, you know, consciousness is the crux or the, like the essence of reality is consciousness, right? And it collapses and expands and then it collapses on itself. That's that cycle of the black hole and the white hole and the figure eight image. It's I thought it was called the cosmic egg, but it's not, and I still can't remember what the frick it's called, but it's something with like the CIA, the Monroe Institute and stuff like that. It's like some kind of way that they teach people how to have like psychic powers. And one of my readings, you'll see in the thumbnail the image, and you can watch that and whatever. I explain it better there. But that concept is so important because, yeah, like I could see in the grand scheme of things, you know, that like it's all gonna lead back to the same thing, right? But then this is saying this situation is brand new. And then it's giving you like, maybe the answer lies in taking an intuitive punt. Let's see. Let's just pull some cards for whatever the heck. chain reaction. One person's courage triggers liberation for many. Yeah. So that's the solution here. And that's been coming up in like so many people's readings. Speaking up, speaking our truth, as long as it comes from a place of integrity and wanting collective humanity to build better, not be destroyed. You know, like the bad stuff, that Sekhmet energy does need to come in and take that down, okay? But we need to not fight each other. We need to build up and come together as a community, okay? And be able to see and determine who the real enemy is. All right. A Hindu healer glows with a mystic healing power. The ability to, or the need to be able to both give and receive healing. To tune into a sense of radiant health and show the path for others to follow in life. The Hindu healer has a mystic healing power. They are often someone who practices alternative forms of healing. Although a medical doctor can also have this healing ability, often you'll find that solving problems logically and rationally doesn't work as well as employing more creative or spiritual solutions. So that's one of the things, is there's so much power in words. A lot of people are like trying to say like, oh, you know, there's all these creators or there's all these people on the internet, okay, talking a big game about standing up against oppression, but they're not doing anything, right? How we do things is building, okay? But the message is important because it inspires people to take action, the proper action. What we need to not do is, you know, cause more chaos and confusion and destruction that's unnecessary. We don't need to do that, okay? That's what they want. That's what they want us to do. Because then it's like taking the problem out for them. And then it makes it easier for them to like kidnap people and do all kinds of crazy crap, right? So, standing together in integrity, disengaging from their madness, and building back better. It sounded like freaking one of these stupid politicians with their dumb slogans, but it's true. Like, that's true. We need to do that. A relay race, having to wait your turn, not having the necessary resources to win. Yeah, so not sharing the glory, the power of surrender, taking turns, not letting go of control to another, feeling defeated. So like the people that are in control, come on, get out of there. So the people that are in control, like, that goes back to the general accepting defeat gracefully. Like, they need to just let it go. All right. A new moon reveals that it's time for people to go ahead with their different projects. This symbol shows the ability, and this is Chiron in Pisces. That's another really important one. And it's new moon. So, like, that's crazy, right? Let's see. The ability or the need to be able to, this is the last one I'm going to do, guys. Okay. And then, like, if you want to, see the rest of this, go watch my other video that looks similar to this with the white background and the little circle. And I explain in detail how to, like, find your chart in this, medium. Okay. And modality is really what I mean to say. All right, so they need to go ahead with their different projects. Their focus has changed and quite possibly parted ways. There's a picture here of new beginnings. People will have their own response to situations. Everyone will not react in the same way. Okay, at times in your life, you'll have this quote-unquote new moon and decide to go your separate ways. It can be a good idea to direct some energy into your desires or projects at the time of the new moon. Light a candle and state your intentions with honesty and love. Back to that candle stuff. Yes, let's do that. Diversifying, applying talents in new directions, people splitting up and splitting off. So people that are like in league with these horrible demons, although I feel like that's like not a word to, I don't like using that word to describe them actually. They're just really shitty people, okay? They're being really shitty people. They're being really shitty people. They're not really shitty people. I don't like to limit anybody from redemption or, you know, and that's what I'm saying is like there could be people that are in league with these assholes, but they finally choose to step away, okay? And I think that's what the universe is giving permission for, what Spirit's calling for this new moon, is no matter how hard it may seem to do or how scary it may be, we all need to step into our integrity and say, enough is enough, okay? Diversifying, applying talents in new directions, people splitting up and splitting off, new opportunities and potentials. Oh, and you know what's something that makes me think too is like they try to make it seem like, oh, we need them, everything would be crazy without them and all this other stuff. That's not true, okay? I don't know if you've ever experienced, but has the power ever gone out in your town and the traffic lights didn't work? Was there complete chaos where people were just running through the lights and crashing into each other? Or did people do just fine and police themselves and were able to take turns? You know, whoever got to the light first, they get to go, then the next person. Or you just take turns. One person goes, then the other person. Then that person, then that person. Like, you know, like, just being like humble, being graceful, being mindful of others, having that mentality is so important. I think a lot more people have it than we suspect, because all they show us is the bad, right? But that bad's really out there. It really is. It's disgusting. Okay. Light a candle and state your intentions with honesty and love. Divorces, new jobs, directions and destinies, new eras. The caution, not giving emotional support, feeling split off and alone, the fear and loathing of separation, failing relationships, overthrowing the old too quickly, fickleness. Yeah, so like another thing is like the society with the pitchforks and machetes, you know, always so quick to go and burn the witch and all that stuff, right? And it's like, blame is never to be placed on the head of just one person. It's usually, the blame is across many people, across many millennia and time and space and everything else. Like, blame is not something that you can just point the finger at one person or a group of people and then be like, yeah, and like, and you don't even know. Like, you don't really know. And also, you don't know what that person's been through and how they were conditioned to believe those things and stuff. And we all need to show a little more love and compassion and understanding. And love always wins, in my opinion. And that's really what we need to focus on, is love. Okay? So let's all do our lovely little wards and candle spells to redirect all this malefic, harmful bullshit that people are planning, and we will all win at the end of the day. Much love to you all. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day or night, whatever time it is for you there. Please feel free to comment, share, subscribe, follow, all the things, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!